clear of the severe threat, not necessarily clear of the lightning threat or for the threat for the day as well. It's starting to take on that sort of hook shape. And I just want to keep an eye on this velocity, of course. So what we're seeing here, these winds in red, these are moving away from the radar up in Millington, northern Shelby County up there. Here we're seeing winds that are getting pulled in from Byhalia, Case, around the 269 loop. These are winds that are coming from the south, feeding into this storm and could induce a bit of rotation there. We're seeing some convergence right in this zone that can sometimes lead to a quick spin-up tornado across that area. We're seeing some downbursts here. So these are some microbursts, it almost looks like. So whenever we say a microburst, that's a small area of very intense winds. Again, this is behind the storm that is pushing east. And then behind the front of that, we're seeing winds gusting out on the back side of it. So this is basically the rain that has fallen in and burst forward. So Olive Branch, you could see some winds sort of shift back. It's southern Olive Branch there. Could see some pretty intense wind gusts here in the next little bit as well. Just looking at radar, it looks a little more jagged on the northern side here. So this is less of an organized storm. It doesn't look quite so prominent, but still have just a little bit of that jaggedness with a little bit of rotation. So we've got just very strong winds out ahead of the storm presently. I want to look at something here. Just this popped right in the beginning of my forecast period. So of course that's I've got to keep in mind what these storms could do as they continue over the next several hours here. They're going to be developing into a better sustained environment across eastern Tennessee and northern Mississippi. And that could lead to the need for a new warning downstream as this storm is moving into a more intensely sheared and unstable environment around that area. So I'm looking at across northern parts of Mississippi, there's a pretty strong gradient. When we say gradient, that's area of high density to area of low density, and then the smooth transition between that of whatever parameter. We've got low instability off towards northeastern Arkansas. So that area, we're really not looking at much chance for severe weather. Of course, you're not even in the tornado watch. Folks in Poinsett County, Craighead County, Mississippi County had a significant tornado roll through yesterday across parts of Cross County, several into eastern Arkansas as well. Memory's not serving me to recall everyone that was impacted. I apologize. But once you get into northern Mississippi, the intensity of that instability, the storm energy, grows rapidly. So places like Oxford have near double the instability of Memphis, we'll say. So probably even triple that instability. So we'll see more intense thunderstorms in northern Mississippi in the next several hours, it looks like. Looking back to the wind shear, there's plenty of shear. That is why these storms have these intense winds with them as well. We'll likely see these storms continuing to progress east. The storm is outflow dominant, according to the National Weather Service. That's some good news. The outflow is a mile ahead of the core. So whenever we say that it is outflow dominant, that means that the inflow for it, I can see that now. It's pretty apparent there on radar. I'll increase the sensitivity so you can see a little bit of what I'm looking at here. So this whole shade of green, this very, very light rainfall, maybe just a few rain droplets that got caught up in the wind and are getting tossed forward. This is sort of the outflows. This is the exhale, the big blow of the winds as they are pushing out from the storm. So this area here, we were looking at for possible rotation developing there. Anything that does try and rotate would have to overcome this. So I'm going to keep an eye on where this outflow is with respect to this storm here. And as that just updates, is all scooting together, if that space begins to close and the storm outruns its outflow, that could be a concern. We saw that last night happening with a storm across the eastern part of our viewing area, and it did have a tornado warning on it very soon after that. Monitoring some mid-level decent rotation in Mississippi, in Phillips County, Mississippi. We're updating the flash flood warning in the Memphis metro, so I want to get that info on your screen as well as I just update this here real quick. Bear with me. I'll need to add that warning to this scene as we're starting to see some more considerable flash flooding happening here across the Memphis metro. The thing is, we've seen so much rain recently that all of that rain is having difficulty draining through all of our systems here. So that could lead to some more widespread flash flooding, more intense flash flooding across the area. Quick update for northern Mississippi into DeSoto County and Panola County, Marshall County. The severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled for your area. Like we were saying, it started to turn more northeast, more towards Collierville. So Collierville's still seeing some very intense winds right now. It's just arrived. Merchants Park Circle, you're probably seeing the gustiest winds right now. The first punch of the winds comes right here, usually along that heavier reflectivity, just out ahead of that. Sometimes these winds, you can see that little outflow that we were saying, that can sometimes be the first push of wind that you see, and then it just starts blowing and it's getting breezy, but it's not the severe winds. Then you get into more of the severe winds there once that heavier rainfall arrives as well. So we are looking for the flash flood warning to be updated here. We don't show these very often, we don't have them very often, and we've changed the colors. Previously, we would show the flash flood warning as a green, but just the colors wise, we made a decision to switch it just because it was difficult to stand out against some of these bright greens of the radar. So we've changed flash flood warnings to be blue. Not sure why it never was in the first place. It makes sense for, flash flooding water to be blue, but we're going to be looking at these. So anytime you see a darker shade of blue, that is going to be a step up in intensity of the flash flooding. We're going to be seeing this a lot over the next several days. So I'm trying to communicate that now, educate you, let you know that when you see these warnings issued the next several days, it's going to be a pretty widespread threat for flooding across the Mid-South here. So keeping on the storm in Collierville, it's probably pretty rowdy in Collierville. If my producer could let me know if we're on Facebook and YouTube streaming and on ABC 24 Plus as well, just so that if we aren't, we can jump on there. Well, yeah, we've got many of these areas here with the potential for some widespread flash flooding through the rest of the week. It's not just going to be today, it's going to be the next few days as well. We're working on getting a stream up if we haven't already. We may need to be. Yes, we are on Facebook. Wonderful. So if you're watching us on Facebook, we appreciate you. Let me know where you're watching from. We're going to see some pretty intense thunderstorms once again today and through the next several days. So we've got that new warning just updated here in the darker shade of blue. So briefly, I'm going to shut off the radar so we can see that warning from Covington through all of Lauderdale County, all of, with the exception of some little spots of the river. We've got through Shelby County into DeSoto County. This is a now considerable threat tag for this flash flood warning. I'll put that info on the screen. I'll read you out the text from the National Weather Service. This is radar indicated threat. Doppler radar indicated a thunderstorm producing heavy rain across this warned area. Between 2 and 3 inches of rain has fallen. Additional amounts of 2 to 4 inches are possible through the warned area. This is through 5:15 this evening here. So that time frame there, that's what we're looking at for this flash flooding to continue. At that point, we may see it drop down. We might see it extended or possibly upgraded. We'll have to wait and see. Severe thunderstorms are producing flash flooding. We could see that in places like Collierville, South Haven, Bartlett, Germantown, Olive Branch, West Memphis, Horn Lake, Hernando, Millington. There's a lot of cities in this pretty broad warning. Cordova, Shelby Forest State Park, Fort Pillow State Park, Memphis, of course, Lakeland, Arlington, and Brighton as well. So many of these areas here could see some flash flooding over the next several hours as we just have round after round of rain. Once the rain stops, we'll have another round of rain behind it. So that could lead to some more intense flooding. I want to bring in our Pepper Baker. She's got a question and comments from our Facebook stream. Pepper, what do you have for me?
Yes, Kit. So I do want to say good job again. You've been working around the clock with Trevor on this. So you all, please come to our Facebook stream if you have any questions. I see a number of you all here are already commenting and posting your questions, posting comments and where you're telling us. You can also go to our Weather Watchers Facebook page if you have pictures that you can submit to us safely of damage or of the conditions of what you're seeing. This helps us just give a little bit more context and a real life experience for what you're seeing out where you live. But Kit, we do have someone, give me 1 second, let me scroll up. Joanna Hurst is asking, will there be any more tornadoes coming to Dyer County or Obion County? And I know that you were more so focused on East Shelby County going into Fayette County, but is there any more information you can give about Dyer County?
Those are areas that are presently not within the tornado watch. That's some good news for us. We're not seeing that threat today. If we jump back over to the graphics, I can show you where the current tornado watch is. It is well south of Dyer County. Loading in. There we go. Dyer County, Crockett County, Lauderdale, and Tipton County are not included in that tornado watch. We could still see some intense rainfall here. You are still within the particularly dangerous situation for flash flooding. So remember a couple weeks ago, there was some widespread flooding along the Obion River, I think it was, and in Obion County. I apologize if I'm misremembering the event, but there was some pretty intense flash flooding right here along the river outside of the Dyersburg area. So that's where we are seeing the threat transition for you today. Let's look through the latest model data of how much rainfall we're expecting on top of what we've had. It's not over yet. This is now through Sunday. Now we're coming in view of the end of the event. This model is a short range model, so it doesn't quite pick up on what we've seen, what we could see as far out as it goes. It only goes out about 70 hours or so. But Dyersburg is expecting 12 to 15 inches. I'll give it some a little broader scale. It might be 8 to 15. That 8 to 10, that 10 to 12, 10 to 15. That's going to be a very narrow swath, and it's really dependent on how these paths of rain cross over one another. So that's where we're looking at that incredible flash flooding threat. Excuse me. So I'm going to take you through the radar here as we are seeing these storms rumble through East Memphis where we are right now. I'm going to just drag this manually over the next few hours here. Look at that into DeSoto County. This storm has that kidney bean shape. It almost looks like a hook echo. We've got another kidney bean shape there. All of these storms back into Arkansas have that shape. So we're going to be seeing supercells developing very shortly in the next few hours here. As we get to around 7 o'clock, this model's having a little bit less intense for those kidney beans, but we could still see some storms developing a little more strongly. And then overnight tonight, this is why we're talking about that flash flooding threat around Covington and Dyersburg. We've got another round of heavy rainfall coming in around midnight. And that's not the last we'll see. We'll see that continue around 4 a.m. It starts to drop back a bit. Then we see into Friday. This will be our first sort of break we'll have for a while. We've got some sunshine coming in, breaks in the clouds. The only thing is that's very concerning because that's going to destabilize the atmosphere. We haven't seen us completely clear out the environment. And over here towards McNairy County, once again, this model is trying to throw another couple of thunderstorms in this area where we could see maybe some more tornado development. So most of the extreme severe threats on Friday seem to be back to our west. We have a moderate risk out for tomorrow across parts of Arkansas, but not our communities in Arkansas. We'll see the decaying line of storms on Friday afternoon pushing through until around 2 a.m. and then maybe another round in the morning. So notice again, we've got some very heavy rainfall here across our northern viewing area in Arkansas. So this is where we're looking at that threat for flooding. Zooming on forward, we'll see into Saturday, 1 o'clock, we've got supercells, we've got a line, we've got another line across the Dyersburg area, very intense rainfall there. So we're going to see heavy rainfall for the next several days. And then, well, I was going to say finally around 5 a.m., we have through Sunday morning, the final wave of rain, and then we should clear things out. Pepper, do you have any more viewer comments from our Facebook page?
Yes, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in here and on our Facebook live stream. We are having a lot of people come in, comment in. I'm seeing Priscilla Huff is watching from Oakland, Tennessee. We got Rachel Johnson from Atoka. Lori Knoll, I believe, if that's your last name, please forgive me if I mispronounced it, but a bit concerned why Tipton was excluded. Didn't the last mesoscale discussion have us in the red circle? What's your thoughts on the southeast corner of Tipton County?
Lori, thank you for the question there. So I'll give you this to think about. Down to a corner of a county, it's very difficult to say exactly what to expect. It gets too granular, too small scale to really forecast confidently. But what I will say that applies more broadly around your area is that I'll be candid. I have not seen that latest mesoscale discussion, so give me a moment to pull it up. Just so I can see what you were looking at as well. Clearly a very weather-savvy viewer if you already know the mesoscale discussions from the National Weather Service. You said Tipton County, was that Tipton County?
Tipton County, southeast corner.
Okay, so Tipton County is right on the very border of this. One quick update here, the severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire. So that's some good news for us here. We're no longer in a severe thunderstorm warning here in Memphis, though we do have that considerable flash flood warning. We may be able to wrap things up shortly. I'm going to hold on that call just yet, but we'll see how things unfold in the next few minutes. But as we have these Facebook comments, so allow me to just sort of read through this mesoscale discussion to see what the threat is. The latest one came out just about 15 minutes ago for the increasing severe threat. They're looking more to the east. Tipton County is, so technically Tipton County, we'll go over to that watch graphic once more. Tipton County is just on the border outside of the tornado watch. But don't think of it as we will have a tornado here, we will have one, we won't have one, either side of the yellow. Think of it just as a fuzzy line of, they have to issue it by county. They can't draw it as just a faded fuzzy line. Of course, the confidence grows more towards the center effectively of the tornado watch and less confidence outside. We could still have a tornado outside of the tornado watch. It's not impossible. This is just the forecasted most likely zone of where we will see tornadoes developing here. So I want to just zoom out real quickly on this graphic just to give you a sense of where this tornado watch was issued for. From northeast Texas to southeastern Kentucky. This is a very long line where we could see that potential for tornadoes as well. Just getting some information in my ear here from my producer, Sophia, so appreciate her being in the back for us. Could you repeat that for me? So the National Weather Service has confirmed that Selmer and Lake City, two places that were struck by tornadoes just yesterday. We were tracking that right here on air and online. The National Weather Service, I believe, has confirmed that those were both at least EF3 tornadoes. I've got a chart over here. If you'll just let me walk over to my desk, I've got a chart that tells you what the baseline is for an EF3 tornado. That would be 136 mile per hour winds, possibly up to 165. So very powerful tornado has been confirmed by the National Weather Service. It's going to take a while for them to complete their surveys with the scale of the damage that was there and with the numerous tornadoes that happened. There was another one into northern Mississippi around the Clearwater area, I believe, just yesterday. So we could see some more storms developing over the same areas through the afternoon today. I'm going to take you back to the radar. The National Weather Service has been talking about some lightning increasing and decent mid-level rotation over Phillips County, Mississippi, I think they said. I know Phillips, I might be mistaken, that might be out of our viewing area. Right below Lee County. Well, we have Phillips County, Arkansas, but they said Phillips County, MS, unless they're abbreviating mesocyclone. Okay, so they must be mentioning the mesocyclone. Let's go to Pepper real quick.
I just want to mention, since we talked about Lake City and the confirmed EF3 tornado now and the one in Selmer, Tennessee, all three of our Mid-South states are under a declaration of emergency. So all of the governors there are declaring an emergency, which means that they can get a little bit more help with FEMA funding or direct federal funds as well. We do have reporters when we go on our live stream, which was supposed to start at 4, but could bring them in once they get set up. We do have reporters stationed at in Lake City, Arkansas, as well as our Kevin McNamara will be in Selmer, Tennessee, when Governor Bill Lee is going to give a live update on the state of where everything is at and what they're assessing with damage. That Lake City tornado was absolutely massive, and there were injuries reported out of there. We have a lot of people who gave us some pictures of it. I know Trevor also mentioned taking screenshots of last night's coverage of it. So we do have a lot of visuals that we will probably have in our later reporting. But I'm going to toss it back to Kit now with more on the storms right now, Kit.
Yeah, so Pepper, we're going to go ahead and close coverage for now, as we haven't seen any new warnings issued. We are erring on the side of caution this afternoon, of staying on just in case a new warning is issued. But I think it's time to wrap up our coverage for now. We have some things we've got to get taken care of before our shows, as well as just giving us a little bit of a break. So we appreciate it. Of course, we've been keeping an eye on some of these storms here, but we thank you for watching. Of course, we'll return to regularly scheduled programming.